Hey everyone, Tinkenstein here. In this video I'll be doing a quick but thorough weak spot guide to help you beat the M6A2E1, a tank with tons of frontal armor and a nasty cannon. I'll go over its weak spots, where you should avoid hitting, and also give you some tactics for how to defeat it. Please subscribe for more content, as I will typically come out with more thorough guides of all types, along with gameplay, reviews, and even some meme content on occasion. That said, let's get into the video. Now, a lot of people are complaining about the frontal armor on the M6A2E1 because of how powerful it is at 6.7 BR. You have to remember that this vehicle is huge, slow, and still an M6 at heart. The M6 is an inherently slow vehicle and sits at 4.7 BR as of the recording of this video. So the A2E1's underpinnings are extremely vulnerable and outdated. Also, the T28 and T95, of which both have much more frontal hull armor, fewer weak spots, and a much lower profile, sit right around the same BR as the M6A2E1, and no one complains, albeit they are substantially more difficult to defeat. So that said, let's just jump right into the weak spots, and right as you can see here, the M6A2E1 is a gigantic tank. This thing has a 214% visibility rating, which, if I'm not mistaken, is second only to the mouse. So it's huge, and it weighs about 70 tons. A lot of that is because of the frontal hull armor. There's around 10 to 15 tons of additional armor on this tank as compared to the original M6 that's already in game. Now, as you can see, this frontal hull armor is really thick, and if the M6A2E1 player has his or her way, he will only be facing you from the front. That said, there are still several weak spots that you can take advantage of if you're staring right down the barrel of this beast. So first and foremost, let's just say you don't really have a good angle on this thing. You're looking at it like this, and it's at 6.7 BR. So a common tank that you might face is the Tiger II. Or that you might be facing this tank would be the Tiger II. So I'll just go to this, maybe 500 meters away, not an uncommon distance to engage. And as you can see, it's just ridiculous, 500 or 200 plus millimeters of armor pen that you would need just to be able to pen this frontal plate. Additionally, this turret mantlet, for the most part, with the exception of the gun, if I'm not mistaken, port, is ridiculous, and the only thing that can get through because of volumetric shells in War Thunder would just be your occasional shrapnel if you were to shoot that perfectly. And if you see here, you're getting upwards of 300, 350, 600 plus millimeters, 700 plus millimeters of armor protection if you're firing at that mantlet head on. So this is a no-go zone, this is a no-go zone, and the lower glacis plate as well is a no-go zone. But what is a good place to hit, and one that might not always be successful, but I'll just mention it anyways, and because this is actually more of a common shot than you think, is right about here where the apex is, right at the base of the upper glacis and kind of at the apex where both the lower and upper glacis meet. Now this is something that you will likely need a bit over 200 millimeters of armor pen to actually hit. But if you do actually get this, I would say, as you can see here, you need 212 millimeters of armor pen. If you could actually hit this and pen it, again, let's just say if you have the Tiger II, and you're using that 88 millimeter cannon, you shoot right here, right in the middle, it goes through, and you will take out most, if not all, of the crew. Now that is not an easy shot, but again, being that it is situated right here, and this is the apex, you will hit it occasionally, and it's not the most uncommon shot ever. It's not like you're trying to hit like a keyhole or whatever, and it's a much easier shot to make than this, and with much better results. And one other thing that you might want to consider is if you are taking this shot, it might benefit you to be at a slight elevation disadvantage, if you would consider a disadvantage. But that being said, let's move on to another spot that I feel is much better and much more likely. So you can see this right here. The turret ring on this thing is a beast. It's huge, weak, and easy to shoot through. If you have 160 millimeters, give or take, of armor pen, you can pen this thing almost anywhere along the front, which is where you're going to need to pen it. So this is the biggest weak spot probably, and the most likely weak spot that you're going to be able to get if you have APHE ammo and it can explode inside of the crew quarters. So what I mean by that is if you shoot here, you do not need an ammo rack kill to kill the entire crew, because your HE, your explosive filler in your shell, should be able to do all the work for you. So this is something that can just go along the entire turret ring. Just because this is such an unnatural turret on this tank, it has to have this massive turret ring, and as a result, that's probably the biggest weak spot and probably the easiest weak spot that you might be able to pen with the most success, again, if you have APHE ammunition. Third from the front, you have right up here. Again, an easy hit. The only thing is, it will likely not do as much damage once you pen, so you can click on that. And as you can see, it will kill the turret crew, but not necessarily the rest of the crew, which means that the tank will still be operable. So if you shoot over here, and especially again if you have APHE, you might not kill the entire turret crew, but you know, again, if you do have APHE, you can actually kill or damage parts of the other crew, and you know, it's kind of a randomizer thing. But if you shoot far enough back, let's say if you hit that ammo, you could still ammo rack the top because the ammo is back there. And finally, this is probably going to be, aside from that ammo or the turret ring shot, probably going to be your most common shot, and that's going to be the sides of the front of the tank. This is totally unchanged from the regular M6, and a huge weak spot whether you're using the M6A1 or the M6A2E1. So as you can see here, you shoot right through and there's tons of ammo right behind it. So if you have AP ammo, for example, or something that just really does not have explosive filler, this might be the shot that you're going to want to go for, because you can hit that ammo and just annihilate the crew. That will almost always be an ammo rack kill, especially if you're shooting it from the front. This is an easy kill to get. So I mean, if you guys are thinking that this is a tough vehicle to kill, you are wrong. Also, there's a couple of shots. So if you, for some reason, have no other shots, or for some reason you think that the commander is the only one left alive, you can aim specifically for him and take him out via the cupola. Now there are some other shots here as well, and these are the obvious ones, so I won't really get into too much detail, but as with most tanks, the side armor is an easy spot to hit. So as you can see here, it's just this massive slab of weakly armored metal, so that's also another thing that you can do. Let's say if you're facing it even from this angle, that will actually make it easier to pen through this spot that I mentioned before, but alternatively, you can try your luck, shoot the sides, and if you shoot the sides, as you can see right there, you pen it and you ammo rack it. So even if you're at an angle, you should still be able to have an easy time killing this tank, especially being that this is so tall. These weak spots are so far up that even if it's peering over a hill, for example, you should have plenty of weak spots to be able to hit. So again, the side shot is probably going to be your best shot to take just overall, but if you have to face this thing from the front, you will not be at any sort of disadvantage, and it is an easy kill. Just focus on these spots primarily because they're going to be the biggest spots. It's kind of like when you're facing a boss in a video game. These are the weak spots that kind of glow right here. If for some reason you don't really feel comfortable shooting these spots, you can also hit the turret ring. Again, tons of weak spots. Now, where you do not want to hit will be the back of the turret. And so right here, as you can see, it says 200 millimeters of armor, but if you do not have 200 millimeters of armor pen, do not hit this because it is actually fairly well protected. So compared to the rest of the turret, let's say again for the side, for example, it only has 80-ish millimeters of armor anywhere on the side, and it's kind of a variable thickness on this tank. Now if you go to the back, it jumps all the way up to 200, and that's because it's protecting the ammo rack. Of course, this is an easy kill if you do have over 200 millimeters of armor pen, preferably have APHE ammo, and you are at a decent distance and angle, but if not, you should shoot underneath it. And as you can see here, it goes to about 150 millimeters. It's a bit of a smaller shot, but you can easily pen right kind of where the turret meets the chassis there. So that is an easy kill from the back. Try to avoid this if you're at an angle or you are not too confident of your armor pen. As you can see here, it is just massive amounts of armor compared to the rest of the tank. And again, the reason for that is because you are protecting the ammo. Now that said, let's just get into some basic tactics and see what we can do in terms of defeating this tank. And now for how to defeat the M6A2E1, it's pretty similar to the regular M6 and possibly even a little bit easier because its flaws are greatly exaggerated with the A2E1. Now that being said, it has a top speed of 28.9 kilometers per hour in realistic, whereas the regular Tech Tree M6 has a top speed of 35 kilometers per hour, meaning that the M6A2E1 is about 20% slower than the standard M6. Not only this, but its acceleration and agility are also severely diminished owing to the over 10 tons of additional weight on the A2E1, meaning that it will have a much slower average speed and will be able to turn at a greatly reduced rate as well when compared to the regular M6. So this said, for tactics for how to defeat it, you can generally just try to flank it, being that it will not be able to respond quickly to any enemy movements, or just as well, try to hit it on the huge corner frontal hole shot that I mentioned before. Sitting right behind it again are tons of ammo and crew, so if you have APHE, you'll have numerous and easy ways to destroy this tank. If for whatever reason that doesn't work, again, you can just shoot right where the turret ring is between the chassis and the turret, or you can hit it on the side. Even a highly angled side shot should be able to pen this thing and destroy ammo, being that the side armor isn't good. For whatever reason you're having a tough time even getting around this thing, just shoot the tracks. One shot with 75 millimeters or larger in terms of shells will destroy all tracks in War Thunder. That is a recent update, and then you can just shoot it from the side and kill it like that. Just be aware that the turret traverse is a little bit quick compared to what you might expect this thing to actually have. So if you're having a tough time getting around it, again, destroying those tracks is not a bad option. That way you can take about half of its turning capability out, and then you can just kind of side shot it from there. Just stay away from its frontal cannon, and if you do actually have to face the cannon itself, just again shoot those frontal corner hole shots, and it should be an easy kill. Honestly, I do not see this tank being that much of an issue, but if for whatever it is, just rewatch this video and hopefully you find an easy way to kill it. That all said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and had some sort of a positive takeaway from it, whether it's how to defeat this tank or maybe you're just a little bit less worried about when you face it. But again, please like, comment, subscribe. It all means the world to me, and I would really appreciate it as it helps the YouTube algorithm a lot. This tank is really not all that difficult to defeat, and I'd much rather face this than almost every 6.7 BR tank out there, and some 6.3 BR tanks as well. But again, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.